Hi friends, this is Lori from Chickenwood Studio up in upstate New York, and I'm making an attempt to come back to my YouTube channel. I've missed chatting to you all and hearing from you, and it's been a crazy couple of years really, except for this past June when I posted a little blurb about my a visit to the Maine Fiber Frolic, which was great fun with my friend Barb. And I recorded something about a month or two ago, but it didn't go well, and I had technical problems, and I just deleted it all. But I keep thinking about trying it again. So here I am, and I'm going to make a good effort. Hope it goes well. So I'm Lori, as I said. I live in upstate New York. This is about my knitting and spinning and fibery craft endeavors. I share like a typical knitting podcast about what I finished, what I'm working on, new things that I'm interested in. I also do a little weaving and soap making, but I don't usually talk about that much here. I keep threatening to make a soap making video. Maybe I'll do that someday, but I haven't done that yet. But today I'm in a new space since I've recorded, and that's exciting. I have a spot in our barn that literally was our lambing barn back in the day when we raised Romneys and Cotswolds. And this would be where we would be just about now, sometimes a month earlier, in February, March, at lambing time. And we'd build our little lambing pens and bring the moms in when they were ready, and it was exciting times. I have some great shots. It would be fun if I could find them and put them in here. But then for many years, once we weren't lambing and didn't have sheep, it was an empty space and just a terrible waste of wonderful space. And then finally, during the pandemic, my husband had time and had already connected electricity to the little barn. And then during the pandemic time, he finished off the inside, and now it's a lovely workspace. I've moved in my equipment down here, weaving looms and wheels and storage of yarn, and a few chairs around, and it's so cozy by the wood stove. So I've had a few knitting get-togethers with my daughter and her friends, and my friend Barb, of course. She comes out every now and then, and I just love to come down here, even by myself, just to knit or read or listen to something, and then I can hop around and spin a little and weave a little, and so it's just a lovely spot. I'm really thankful for it. The wall behind me is sadly blank. I need to decorate a little bit, but it's great, and maybe I'll give you a little tour at the end of this. So I hope you are having some time to relax and have a tea or a coffee and do some knitting with me for a while. I will start with some, did I forget anything? I guess I forgot the usual. On Instagram, I am, I think, LF Dubois. On Ravelry, Chickenwood Studio. And that's just about it. That's the only places where I'm. On Facebook, Chickenwood Studio is up there. I have a soap page, but I don't do anything on regular Facebook much. So I think I will start out with finished objects, and they go way back, some of these. I think if I can find the yarn, yeah. I'll start with what I'm wearing. This is Althea by Jennifer Steingass, and I love this sweater so much. I love the little different things. If you can see that, it's a garter cuff, and it's garter around the bottom. Just the two colors. And it's DK weight, and what I used for it is Tinde Norse Pelsullgarn, and this is the natural gray, and I have a little extra ball of the blue. Where did that go? Oh, it's not here. The blue is called petrol, and this is the natural gray that they haven't dyed, and they dye over this. And it's lamb's wool, and it's just so light and soft, and it's just my favorite. I did the Anji, Jennifer Steingass's Anji, in the same yarn. both from Norway. I purchased this when I was in Norway 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago. I can't believe it. And the other sweater, my friend Patricia Fortune had brought me some, and she came over for Rhinebeck from Norway. She brought some of the Pelsull and sent me some more in the color so I could make a sweater with it. And I would love to know if somebody in the US is distributing this, because I would love to do something else with it. It's just the most comfortable, soft and light, and it has this luster, at least with the blue and the red. The deeper jewel colors are so, they're almost metallic, just gorgeous. So that was a real success. It fit, it's a little bit loose around here. I think when I knit yokes, I'm so worried about the strands behind, the floats being too tight, that I knit too loosely. Actually, I tried to do this one. I'm pretty sure I did this one inside out so that I wouldn't have to worry, but I still think it was too loose. So I maybe need to go down a needle size for a yoke instead of up like some people do. But maybe I can learn from this and not have it happen next time. Other than that, I just came out great, and I love wearing it. Even this winter, I have like 4 sweaters. I'm just day after day after day. And to think there was a time when I couldn't wear sweaters because I was always too hot. That was tough. That has changed. And now I wear them all the time. So another FO. This is one I've shared with you many times. Started it in Shetland at a Shetland Wool Week 2019. And it's the Cruden vest by Ysolda with Shetland yarn from fingering weight, 4-ply from Jameison and Smith. No, this one was from Jameson's of Shetland. I spent an afternoon in the shop in Lerwick getting help picking up colors, and so it was a great fun knit. But the problem was, even though I'm pretty sure I did a swatch, again, I either chose too large needles or knit too loosely, and the thing is gigundous. It's just huge. I have since pulled out the shoulder seams and pulled off the arm borders because I was either going to take it in and shorten it from the shoulders and then redo the borders, the edges, or I'm just going to make it into a cushion. I kind of hate to do that because it was so much time. But I mean, I suppose it could be a really oversized, floofy kind of thing over a dress, but I would feel like a house in it, and I just don't want to go for that feel. So if you have any suggestions, what you think is a good idea to do with this, love to hear them. I think it would make a beautiful pillow, wouldn't it? Oh, that's just really nice. I think I'm going to have to do that and then move on to the next. I have another one I started that same week that I will keep better track of along the way. I'll have to put it on 2 needles and open it out and see how big it really is around, because I don't want this to happen again. I've shared that on another video, but I didn't bring it today because I have done nothing on it. So, oh goodness, so many things. So I think the last time I really officially podcasted was probably 21. Still kind of in the midst of pandemic times, and there was just so many things that happened from 2020 to 22, and I just didn't have the drive to keep trying. And frankly, my computer has given me hassles about when I use iMovie, so I need to do a little research and find a better way to do that. Maybe that would help me. But anyway, enough of those details. I'm here to talk about knitting. So let's see. Oh, here's another. Oh, there's so many. It's been a long time, and I'm not going to show you everything. But this is a recent one. Oh no, I didn't bring the pattern. Oh, my heart. I just sort of did this on the cuff because I thought I'll never do it if I keep waiting until I'm perfectly prepared. But this was a little DK weight yarn run with a mohair silk lace weight. And I had not done that. So many people are knitting that combo. And I just really wanted to have a little tam. Like, it's a podcaster The Thoughtful Knitter. Oh, help. This is when I do need notes. A podcaster I enjoy watching made a couple, and I thought that looks really fun. So I did. Came out fine. It's really cute. I think it was top down, actually. Yeah, it was. So cool. You start with the little tab there. Or no, that's at the end, but you start just below that and you increase if I remember correctly. If I will try to look up the pattern and put the notes down below. And so if you want details on that. But that was a really fun, quick knit and a cozy hat. Another thing, this is sort of in spinning, but it's knitting. It's knitting my hand-spun flax. My first flax spinning I bought from Etsy. It was kind of prepared top in little bits and lengths and stuff. It was not like your typical long line flax, but it was good to learn on, and it was quite soft and really quite strong, considering I could carry a whole bag of heavy fruit and it doesn't even budge. It's just so cool. So it's a knitted market bag. It's probably I needed smaller needles, but it works though. Look how far it stretches. And it works really well. So I try to remember to bring it with me and throw in my loose produce. And so I don't have plastic or paper. I have linen. So I don't tell anybody. I made the yarn. I made the bag. I just put the fruit in. Thank you. Somebody might ask someday, but it doesn't matter. But it matters to me. I think it's really fun. Cool. So I bought some Belgian linen back in the fall at the Fiber Festival of New England from a soap vendor, actually. And she was knitting up washcloths and back scratchers and scrubbers. And she had these little skeins, little tubes maybe of this Belgian linen, which was beautiful, very thick, very many plies. And I made some cloths out of that, and they came out great. They are so nice, so nice. They're really spa cloths. They're nice. They're not really hard. They're not really soft. They're something in the middle. That the robust is the word I want to think of, and they're very nice. So that's been fun. I've been spinning flax as well. Now I'm getting into spinning, but I didn't bring any flax to show you. So another time. Hopefully this spring I'll be able to process some of the flax that I grew 2 years ago when my husband finishes making the tools. There's a set of plans for flax processing tools, which are kind of hard to come by. These days you'd have to find old ones and search around in barn sales and antique shops and stuff. And he's such a good woodworker, and he has the wood and the supplies out. All I needed was the plan, so now the wood is curing. It was fresh wood that he cut, and it's drying over the winter. So maybe springtime he'll put them together, and I can show you if I can figure out how to do this and do it well. And I'll show you anyway. We'll learn together. And maybe I'll spin up some of my own homegrown flax. I would love to plant some more this year. I wonder if my seeds will grow after 2 years. I'll have to ask Donna, who I bought the seed from. Anywho, that's been a lot of fun. I just keep saying fun. Well, it is. It's very cool. Finished objects, though. So I just have a couple of more. This was one that I started a while back. These, I just felted them finally enough. They're called the Lovikka mitts. It's like a Swedish mitten tradition, I think. Felted beautifully. They are so cozy. And now I just have to, I don't have to, but I want to do some embroidery around the cuff. That's the traditional way they finish them off. And I got this pattern from the book, the Nordic Knitting Primer. This is a lovely book. It has so many nice patterns in it by Kristin Drysdale. She is Scandiwork on Instagram. It's beautiful designs in here. That's a sweater I might like to make someday. This one's really nice too. Nice yoke. And lots of hats. Oh, she even has a tutorial on how to do the embroidery. I missed that. I was looking at the book yesterday to see what I was supposed to do. So that's exciting. I just have to pick out the yarn for it. It doesn't have to be embroidery floss. It needs to be, they'll tell me, what kind of DK weight yarn. So I'll have to pick out a few colors and find some of that. I suppose 4-ply Shetland yarn would probably work just fine. That's a lot more handy. I don't have a lot of DK in my stash. So that's been going on for a couple years now. I'm really happy. I think last winter I started those and put them away and lost track of them and finally pulled them out again this year. So that feels really good to finish something. And one more finished object. Out here in the barn I have a couple of looms, and on the Baby Mac loom I had a warp for scarves. 2 scarves. It was a black rayon. It was just the warp, and then I did a hand spun silk and yak, or silk and camel. Can't remember. That was from Port Fiber, and I've since given that to my daughter, and she loves it. It looks great on her. It was greens and browns and a little black and beige and sort of not like a minty green. It's really beautiful. And but I had this. This was a commercial yarn. So I did another scarf. I had 2 scarves worth on there. I don't even think I've blocked this yet or washed it, but this is a half linen, half wool, I think, blend. It came out really nice, actually. You know, kind of goes with today, what I'm wearing. Kind of short, but because I think that I ran out of weft. That's why it's short. I had 2 balls of this sock yarn, but it's okay. You can wear it crossed in front, so I have to get that into circulation. It's a diamond, like a point twill. It's hard to see. It looks more like stripes from the distance, but it's a little small point twill. 4 shafts. And then I just sewed a zigzag across the edge. I didn't feel like twisting all these ends. I wanted it done, but I wanted a little bit of fringe, so I think that works fine. I don't mind it. I like it. So I thought, let's see, what's next? We did finished objects, works in progress with knitting. I really enjoy Jana of Ketu Knits, who does Finnish knitting stories. And she, on an older podcast, she talked about old projects. Actually, what she mentioned was old patterns and old ideas, things that she had wanted to knit years back, got the patterns for, but never got back to them, and how she enjoyed going back to picking some of those up. It got me thinking about just going through my old projects that are stashed, that are sitting in baskets and bins, and sort of taking stock, but also reconnecting with some of them just for the fun of it. And I've been doing that the past couple of days, and I found things I'd totally forgotten about. And so I might come across a couple of those today when I go through the whips. But I'll start with this one is not one of those. This is one of a recent one. And this is, oops. I can never remember the name of it, so I've got to look at my pattern again. It's almost done. I'm down to the second half of the second sleeve. And it's called Ilha by Orlane Sucche. It's just a lovely, lovely yoke lace. It's cropped, but I made it longer. And I'm making it with a sport weight alpaca blend, but oops, that's the back. Back has the thread coming out, I'm pretty sure. But it's just so close, and it's got some neat features. It's a yoke and then a raglan halfway down the yoke after the lace is done, and then the cuffs are this. It's twisted rib, alternating every 4 rows. And at first I thought I might just skip that just because I wanted to get the thing done. But I'm so glad I didn't skip it. It stays quite large down the sleeve, and then there's a really fast decrease at the end. And it's so comfortable. And this is going to be another regular. So I'm this far down the sleeve on the second sleeve. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 more decreases, and that's decreased every 14 rows. So I've got a few rows before I can get to my cuff, but once that's done, just tie in the ends and go. And hopefully we'll still have some cold enough weather that I can do that. Oh my gosh, I love this color so much. And it's staying chilly around here. We just had a dumping of snow the other day, March 14th, like a foot of snow. Okay, let's hope this works. It's a new day. It's a couple days since I recorded, and the whole second half of what I recorded never got recorded. The first time I assumed it was recording. Then the second time I saw the little numbers going, but it still came up as a blank file, and the third time, again, it came up as a blank file. So that's why I'm here in a different day, different sweater. This is my Seachange sweater with Rowan felted tweed. It is one of my uniform sweaters, honestly. I've worn it so much. The cuffs are falling apart, and I've had to put patches in the elbows, which was cool because I had to learn how to do that, and that's a worthy skill to have in your pocket, toolbox and all. Anyway, yeah, so today is Saturday, March 18th. So it's a beautiful sunny day here in upstate New York. Thankfully, there's sunshine. It's been a very, very cloudy winter, and all day it stayed sunny. I just got back from a really fun event. A friend of mine, a knitting friend, has a group. And actually, it was in the beginning of the pandemic. They invited me to go and meet with them and talk about knitting with the Shetland knitting belt and all things Shetland. And I couldn't go. And then it was going to be, I don't know if we talked about doing it online, virtual, which is kind of weird. You know, it's hard to demonstrate something like that in front of a computer screen. Just not the same. And so we finally got it planned, and then last Saturday, we had a big snowfall, and so it was postponed again. Maybe that was 2 weeks ago, actually. Can't keep track. But today there was no inclement weather. It was a beautiful day to head out to her house and meet with her buddies and give them a chance to try knitting with the knitting belt and talk about things. They had a project together where they each chose a photo and used the color inspiration from their photos to design Fair Isle hats. And they were beautiful. They really did such a beautiful job putting together their colors of their Shetland jumper weight yarns, and a hat design from the woolly thistle. And so it was really a lovely time just to hang out and get to know them and talk about knitting and books, and it's just super, super nice. So I have a little time left this afternoon, and I thought maybe I'll do this because I just don't want to put the whole initial effort to a waste. So I'll try and salvage it and show you what I was going to show you. I still had to do whips and works in progress and some spinning stuff. So actually, since that day, one of my works in progress became a finished object. I don't know if this got into the cut or not, but this is the Ilha sweater. I think this part did get in before it stopped recording. But anyway, I finished it over the past couple of days, that second sleeve. Got the ends tucked in, but I haven't blocked it yet. But I'm so thrilled that it's done, and I'm so thrilled how it came out. I think it will fit okay when I block it out a little bit. And it's just this really thin, light, sport weight alpaca blend, so it's going to be light and warm for spring. So I'm so pleased. I came across the pattern just looking on Ravelry for a textured yoke kind of thing, and I really love it. It's a top down with, I may have already shown you this, I don't know what got in and what didn't. Down the sides there's this cable braid, and the cuffs and the bottom have this alternate 1x1 rib, and the top is just a rolled to cast on. Had some short rows in it, I'm pretty sure. Yep, it did. So that will make it fit really nicely. So let's see, what else did I have to show you for whips? I'll do that one. That one was kind of sitting with spinning. Probably some that I might have left up in the house, but anyway, some of these are, like 3 of these are old projects that I have pulled out of the bins and baskets and revitalized, and I'm excited about that. It's like casting on 3 new things without having to cast them on and start them. They're already started. Well, 2 of them were. The other one was a rip out what it was and turn it into something different. But before I go to those, I'll show you this one. This one I did not have the other day, but I got onto the vanilla sweater train last fall, and this was my color. I have split for the sleeves, and this is a woolly thistle pattern by Cruden, and it's using Rauma, the Norwegian jumper weight yarn. And I've forgotten the name of the colorway. Probably is just a number. Well, it has a name on the website. I think it was Deep Heather or something like that. Dark Heather, maybe? I thought that I had wanted the lighter heather color, but I'm really pleased that they were out of it. Whoever I was buying it from. I didn't get it through Woolly Thistle. I can't remember. I think I got it through Wool & Company, maybe. But I love it, and you know, it is more of knitting a whole sweater on a very thin yarn, which I had never done before until that green one. So, I don't know, maybe I'll still take a little break before I jump right back into that. Because since Thursday, I started another sweater, and that was from one of the old projects that I found when I was cleaning some things out. I was moving things from one storage area to another, and I went through this basket full of things, and I found a partial project using this yarn, which is, I don't even really know. I bought it so many years ago, and I never saved a label, but I do remember it was on a cone. It still smelled of oil, factory oil. I think I already knitted it up into almost a cardigan that I didn't like, that I didn't feel like how it felt, and then I was knitting it up into a kind of a wrap of some kind. I think I had seen someone wearing something where it was a long rectangular piece, and the way you arranged it or sewed part of it together, it became a poncho in the front and a shawl in the back, and I was never going to wear that. I don't wear those kind of things, although, you know, if I had one, maybe I would, but I really had been wanting to make another simple sweater, and I'm really caught up by the Lenta sweater that people have been making this year. The Lento that was in Lina magazine a while back, and I thought, well, you know what, let me just see how this would work up into the Lenta sweater. So I've started the neckline. I have done the folding over and the knitting of the 2 edges together into the one large needle. Now I'm working on the short rows. So this is just going to be a vanilla sweater, so to speak. Very neutral tones, and it's so soft. I think there's even cashmere in here. It's a soft, tweedy, maybe merino. I don't even know. It's been so long, and I never saved the label. So anyway, the Lento, if you don't know, is a simple raglan, top down. It's kind of a cropped, and I'm going to make it longer. I'm pretty sure I have plenty of yarn, but it's going to be longer than that. But I've seen people wearing them in podcasts and stuff, and it just looks like it fits really nicely around the shoulders. Of course, that's their shoulders. We'll see how it fits on my shoulders, but I like raglans. And I'm just having fun starting something on a bigger yarn, bigger than jumper weight, which is kind of novel now. And it's going to go quickly, and I'll enjoy that. And in the course of looking through the bins and things, I found a couple other things that I was going to, I thought I had frogged one of these. Glad I didn't, because I really love it now. And it's a shawl by Greta Mensen. She does a lot of textured designs in shawls, a lot of one color, single color, neutral, textured shawls, and I love her work. And this one happens to be color work-ish. It's called Rocas, R-O-C-A-S. The photo on my pattern is terrible. It was a bad printout, and then it's been folded and worn. But it's a triangular shawl. Starts at the top, has this beautiful stockinette kind of cable down the middle. Not a cable, just a stitch. And then a little lace, and then textured, and then lace, and then brioche, and a little lace, and then more brioche. And the blue on the bottom will be a much wider, will be maybe about as wide as the light blue. And these yarns have been in my stash forever, it seems. So I like the fact that I'll be finishing them up. This was called the Three Graces, and it's a sock yarn from a dyer in the UK who is Cauldron of Color. I don't know if she's still in business, but because this was like, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe 7, 8, 10 years ago when I purchased it. I'd followed her on Instagram, and she had a sale, and this color for some reason caught me. It's just this beautiful muted gold tweed. And the next, the lighter blue, that is Robin's Egg from Rachel Jones up in Rockland, Maine. Her business is On the Round. I've gotten a lot of skeins from her. I love her dyeing techniques, and her yarns are lovely. And I think this, I've been saying I thought it was an Alabrigo sock, but it might be Cascade sock. It's a commercial brand, and I don't remember. But it seems to go nicely with these two other colors. And I can picture wearing it with my blue, I have a blue linen dress, and I think that would be lovely. I just need to make a new project bag because this thing is like, bleh. So I have actually a nice little bit of fabric that maybe this coming week I'll get the machine out and make this a nice bag to live in. I used to make a lot of bags. I've gotten away from it. But it'd be nice to have some new ones, bigger ones that'll hold a shawl or a sweater. And another resurrected project is a blanket project. And this blanket is using a lot of my hand spun from years back. A couple of years there, I did a lot of hand spun natural colors, some hand spun white, and did indigo pots a couple summers. I grew fresh indigo in the garden. And so we also dyed, me and my friend, we dyed with, we did yellows. Sometimes it was goldenrod, and then one year it was Queen Anne's lace. Will give you a beautiful yellow. There's a couple other yellows, I don't remember what they were. So there, you over dye the yellow with the blue indigo, and you get all kinds of green shades, and it's just super fun. And I had some brown natural colors too, some from our sheep. So at some point, I decided to start a Vivid blanket. And the Vivid is, don't know who designed it. Do I have the directions? I don't know. I don't think so, but you could look it up on Ravelry, just Vivid blanket. And it's a bunch of large squares, which are knitted, with this pretty lace pattern in the middle, and then a border around with garter border. And I have like 5 or 6 of them, and I think it takes about 10. And let's see, I have 3, 4, 5. I have 6. And I think I'm going to alternate these 6 with solid colors from these colors, because I just don't want to fuss with stripes or I'll never get it done. Although they're pretty, but I think the solid, alternating against the stripes would be a nice balance. So that means I would have 4 more striped ones to do. Oh, there's 20. Yeah, there's 20 of them in a blanket. So I'd have 4 more striped ones and then 10 solid ones. And it's pretty quick going because it's on size 9 needles. It starts in the middle, and then you knit out from the middle, the lace section, and the last is the garter stitch border. So that makes it pretty quick. These are all these hand spun, hand dyed ones I was saying. So this was definitely a yellow over dyed with indigo. And this was a natural color. I think this has a little Angora in it. It's got a little fuzzy halo. Nice natural gray. This is one of our sheep, I think. Franzi. She was a blend of things. Very soft fleece. And here's here's a little more yellowy green with streaks of yellow in it, which I love. It's really pretty. And here's just a straight indigo, probably on white. I think this might have been a Nash Island skein. Yeah. So, yep, that's my color mode, blues and greens. I'm okay with that. So that's going to be really sweet when that's done. This also needs a new bag. I think I'll just get an old pillowcase and run up a project bag for that. Like a drawstring or something on the top. So that's a great project to start up again because the squares are big, the knitting is big. What's this? This is the row cost directions. I better not reuse that. So that's whips. Do I have more whips? I have one more, and that'll get us into spinning. And I'm assuming we are recording. It says it's recording. Let's hope my little phone is more trusty than my laptop. This was spinning with Carrie of My Wool Mitten Farm in Michigan. Last year she did a Spinning for Socks Sal spin along, and this year she did it again, and I participated last year and really enjoyed it. So this year when she was talking about it again, I thought this would just be fun. Let's just do this. Break up the monotony of whatever I'm working on. And her colorway was similar to this, and I loved it. So I just sort of roughly blended in the Carter some, it was Romney that had been dyed blue and some natural gray Romney, some white Romney lamb and white Finn lamb and white merino blended with Angora. And this was the yarn, how the yarn turned out. It was really fun to spin because it just allowed for large bits of color so that you could have actual larger striping sections. Though they're random, they really did come out pretty. I mean, they're certainly not alike, but you know they go together. So I'm almost done, and I can't wait to be able to wear them because that little bit of Angora will make them super warm. And I actually spun it thin enough this time that I can wear them inside a shoe. All my previous sock spins have been so, I thought they were thin when I was spinning. They were as thin as I'd ever spun before, but they weren't quite thin enough. So they're kind of a chunkier sock, but this one, I did it, and I was so happy. Even though I felt like I was spinning lace, and I thought this will never be big enough to make socks, but it's fine. It's working out great. I think it's probably a 2.0 needle, 2.0 millimeters. I'll never be able to read that. But I think it is. It's on the smaller side. But I like my socks fabric to be dense, and I think they will last longer that way. So that was the segue into spinning, and I thought I would share a couple of my spinning things with you. I have some of them here. Some got taken up to the house when I had to leave the barn and gather up and stuff. But one of them is this is another Nash Island fleece that I purchased this year. Janny at Starcroft had advertised his last 4 hand spinning fleeces available, and they just were just irresistible. So I did get one, and I've been washing it just in little bunches. Like I just wanted to sample it to see what it was like. But this is the raw fleece, and it is so clean and so pristine. There's no VM in there. It's just lovely, lovely stuff. And that yellow washes right out. Here is the clean fleece, clean locks. Just so bright and shiny and lustrous and clean and gorgeous. And here is carded or combed top. It's really easy to comb, and I've decided I did some carding and I did some combing to compare, and I felt like it was worth combing because it really was so easy to spin, and none of the little bits, if there were any, very few, are involved, and you can just spin it. And so I'm making it into a kind of a worsted style yarn where the combing sets it all up to be, all the fibers to be parallel, and the spinning, just the length of the fibers is about 4 inches, so that it doesn't take a lot of spin to hold it together. So you don't have to spin it really dense, but you spin it smoothly so that that luster will be able to shine through. And I had found a sock pattern that a friend from Norway had just published. It was a woman that I met on the trip named Marguerite. She had given each of us a little double-pointed needle holder, to snap over your needles with a sock project on. And it was so sweet. Everyone, well, at the end of our time there, they hosted us and whatever local knitters would like to join on this giant tea party. It was just a blast. We had a great time. And that was where I met Marguerite, and she came and gave each of us one of those holders. So I follow her on Insta, and she has a Norwegian podcast, but so I don't get to listen to her till I learn Norwegian. But her mitten pattern is called Pearl, P-E-R-L-E. And so I started the cuff, and it's just a nice sort of a light worsted spin. It's just like spins like butter. It's so, so sweet. So I look forward to spinning the rest of what I need for the mitten project and getting that done. And just knowing that it's the Maine yarn that just grew off the coast of Maine on an island, blown by the sea wind, and clean and fresh. And I know the flock, and I've been there, and it's just really special stuff. Special stash. So these are my Benjamin Green combs. Beautifully made. Love them. They have 2 rows of tines. And I'm going to just load up quickly. This is the Nash Island fleece from this past summer. And these fleeces are so beautiful. It's so clean and it's just kissed by the fog and the ocean breeze out on the coast of Maine. It's 3 miles off the coast of Maine, and only sheep are on the island, except for when the people go and tend to them. The Wakeman family and Jannie Estelle from Starcroft Fiber Mill up in Columbia, I think. And I've been getting their fleeces for years, and I've been lucky enough to be out on the island where the sheep live and hear the story of Jenny, the first shepherdess. Well, as a child, they had sheep. Her father was the lighthouse keeper, and they had lots of animals when they lived out on the island. And she went, I guess, as an adult and decided to raise sheep again. And anywho, that's some of the history of the story. And Jannie and Alfie and Eleni Wakeman have been raising the sheep. I guess maybe I've known about them for 10 years or so, maybe more. Yeah, definitely more, 15 probably. And they've really changed the flock as the years go by, depending on the rams that they bring over in December. And it's really fun to follow. Jannie will post some videos of them in the boats coming over with the rams, or taking the lambs off, or shearing day. That's a really big one. That's fun. There's some people who have gone over to help with that, have done some great photo things. And anyhow, this is how I'm deciding to do this fleece, because the combed top is so easy to spin, and it makes it really smooth and semi-worsted the way I'm spinning it, because I'm making mittens, at least with this bit, that are white, and they have a textured pattern, and I'll show you that later on in the video, podcast here. So this is the first pass. Some of this waste is actually usable. I've spun up the long pieces of waste into a perfectly lovely yarn. The short bits, I guess I could save for stuffing, but at least I'm keeping them separate. And I just run it through 4 times because it takes everything out that might be, you know, along the way of spinning that I'd have to pick out. This way it's already out, and I can still devote the good parts of that waste to another yarn. And I just love the result. So now I've put it back and forth from comb to comb a few times, and now I'm going to take it off in the form of top using this thing called a diz, just a plastic piece out of a milk carton in this case. Beautiful ones are made and used, wooden and metal and bone and all kinds of fun materials, but this is what I had handy for now. I have a pretty small one that's made of, seems like mother of pearl, but the opening is very tiny, and I need this top to be fairly thick because it just falls apart in my hands. I don't know the latest sheep breed blend that they've been raising this summer. I'm curious because it seems like it has something like like a long wool type of breed mixed in there, a Wensleydale maybe, or something. I'll have to ask Janny because it's a little different, and it's just this beautiful little cloud. And even when I wind up the nesting, sometimes the weight of the rest of it pulls it apart. So there's the nest for spinning. So there's that, and then I've also been spinning more natural color, gray-brown. It's just my jam. This is from Friends in Fiber. They have an Etsy shop, but I saw them at the Fiber Festival of New England, and they are highlighting specific sheep fleeces. And this is Dimka, a Weather, and he's a Wensleydale cross. And it is gorgeous to spin, and it's just such a treat to have it all prepared. I have fleeces, and I do a lot of carding and stuff and combing sometimes. But Barb, my friend Barb, who traveled with me, we both treated ourselves to some prepared roving, so we could just get right to the spinning. And this is how it came out. Comes out gorgeous. I'd say it's a DK the way I'm doing it. Little bit of a slightly heathery. I don't know. You see the more heatheriness when it's knitted up. Excuse me. Yeah, and I'm picturing a kind of a textured, maybe a cable knit sweater, maybe a cardie with pockets, lots of cables and texture. So I need to knit up a textured swatch to see if the fuzziness doesn't just swallow up the structure of the cables and things. I think it'll be all right, but it's probably a good idea to check it before I embark. Yeah, so is that the spinning I've done? Doing the white, still working on some flax, and I think I'll show you more stuff with that maybe another time. My flax wheel is set up with a distaff that my husband helped me make. And I have a lot of flax to spin and stories to tell about the flax. But I'm thinking that is about wrapping it up. And if the if the recording is still working, that's awesome, and I'll be able to finish this up and get it out to you. So, hope you're all well. I hope that the sun is shining in your neighborhood today, because it is today here, and it's just so lovely. It's been so long. But anyway, let me know how you're doing and what you're working on, how things are going. It's been so long since I've done this, and I really hesitated whether to do it, but it kept coming back to me every time I would watch a knitting podcast. I would want to answer back, participate, and take part in the exchange and enjoy. I just tell you how much I enjoy seeing what people are doing and hearing their stories, and I just felt like it would be good to start up again. So I'll probably take you on a little tour. I'll take the phone out and turn it around and show you my workspace here down in the barn. So I'll see you there in a minute. Okay, there's my corner where I just podcasted from. This is like just coming in the door. I have some shelves for some storage and a couple of my antique wheels. And the old piano is in here because there's nowhere else to have it for now. It's okay. Here's our little drinks corner. It's my mom's old sewing desk. And our little tea kettle, wood stove, some chairs and stuff. It's a bit of a mess right now, but that's life, right? That's the way our workspaces tend to get. This is some looms. My workbench, which is also a mess right now because I've been using it. Here's where I've been combing. I'm hopefully inserting a little bit of combing for you. This was more of spinning, which I forgot to tell you because I didn't have the skein with me. I'm spinning alpaca into as thick as I can make it, and then I'm triple plying or chain plying to use for rugs on the big barn loom upstairs. And here's my weaving currently towel project on the loom. So it's a little small space, but it's so wonderful to leave things where they are and not have to hide them away into corners and things. This is some of the Dimka that I showed you, the Wensleydale cross, ready to ply. So, anywho, that's about it. Didn't have time to light a fire today. Pretty soon we'll be able to come down here without the fires. That would be lovely. This is the view out the window, out into the woods, into the valley. So hopefully we'll soon be seeing green out there. So thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.